Hi everybody, my name is Elsie. I'll be your interviewer. I'm a soprano in Known MPLS, and here we have...
Hey y'all, my name is Dallas. I've been in the choir for about 3 years now, and I'm a tenor.
Tenor Gang.
Tenor Gang.
Okay, so the first question I have for you is, what was one thing this year taught you about yourself?
Yes.
You know, for 6 months into the year, what have you learned?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So for me, I would say just like continuing to be resilient. I just graduated from college in May, and this last year, this semester really pushed me. There were so many moments where I just felt very drained and exhausted and felt like I couldn't move forward. But I really am just like thankful that God was like able to kind of give me like that energy that I needed to make my final push with all of my papers, and just like having like the self-determination. So I would definitely say like just continuing to be resilient even in like my trials, and even when I felt down and like dealing with like depression or just isolation, just like not giving up and like being resilient in myself.
How has God reminded you in this year how to be resilient using the Bible?
That's a really good question. I feel like for me, just like getting deeper into my prayer time, one thing that I've been trying to focus on is like reading different like books of the Bible for the year. So like when it started like in January and February and stuff, like I was very consistent. I felt like with like just reading scripture and just having like my hour of time, like to be able to just be with God.
Your
and just
power
like
hour.
Yeah, my power hour. Yeah. My power hour, Project Diva. But yeah, like just really having that time, and that's something I actually want to get back more into, because now that I'm like transitioning out of college and like having like an internship and stuff like that, it's so much harder to like actually carve out that time to be with God, because I feel like as soon as I start my day, I'm just like about to, you know, like have to start getting ready and stuff. So I think for this year, it's like recommitting myself back to God, and like just kind of just kind of having that time like back with God. I think that's something that I'm like really trying to implement now.
I know you kind of gave me one key word for your year, which is like resilience, but if you had to describe, we can come back to this year, but last year, if you had to describe your year in like 3 keywords, what would those?
This year or last year?
Last year.
Oh, last year, okay. Our first word that came to me was pain. Second word, grit. And then the third word, I would say power. Yeah. Power.
Do you want to describe it?
Yeah, for sure. So like for the first word, pain, like I dealt with a lot of just like I dealt with like a health emergency with my aunt and stuff like that. So it's been like very hard for me to like process those things. And then also just with school and just like all of my extracurricular activities, it was just a lot of like just me having to consistently exert a lot of energy and stuff like that. So I always felt like exhausted and very drained. So I think what was the word that I said at first was
You said
power, grit, and the first one was
pain.
Yeah, pain of just like just having moments where I felt alone or just felt by myself and felt like the only person or only spirit I could talk to was God.
Yes.
So it was just like the pain, but I always knew at the end of the day like it would be fine. And like going into 2026, looking back at 2025, it's just like God was setting up so many things in 2025, so that in 2026 it was just like a blessing, and it was just like it was just incredible like how everything kind of happened. But it had to go through 2025 for me to like be able to make it 26. And then the other word I said was grit, right?
Yeah, grit.
Grit. So kind of going back to that first word too, is like grit. Like I still kind of had to like push through it. Like even as I was going through my isolation and feeling like I was alone, I just kind of had to like put my head down and just like have the grit to just like keep going, like just to not stop. So yeah, just like basically put my head down, not worry about anything else, keep going. And then the last word, power. I feel like 2025, the reason why I say power is because like I was trying to make it to a mountaintop, if that makes sense. Like just to be able to graduate and just like finish strong. Like that's why I was trying to like, not that I necessarily had the power, but it was like I was trying to reach like this act of power, I guess. Not even, I know. So yeah, I was trying to reach this act of power, and I finally did that in 2026, or like the first part of 2026. And so I feel like 2025 was like just me like building to that so I could get to 2026.
Lots of times we are our own limitation when it comes to goals and things like that. So
really.
God always tries to remind us that we have it within ourselves even to do something that we didn't think was possible because it's through Him.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that kind of goes a little bit into how last year was like, and we talked a little bit about this year and how it's been very resilient. In through your journey with God, I would really love to know how Known MPLS has played into that journey as well.
Yeah. So starting back, like I joined Known MPLS my freshman spring semester, so I was like 19 at the time. So I was actually pretty young. I'm 22 now, so that was like 3 years ago. 3 years ago. And I just think that my own relationship with God has grown so much. Like, I never used to like sing at home or just like sing in general. Like, I would always listen to like gospel music and stuff like that, but not until like being in this space that I just kind of felt like I found my people, if that makes sense. Like, I found like a Christian group where everybody could just be authentically them, and then but then there was just like God was in the space. And I've never been in a youth space in particular that's been like that, and that was something I like really enjoyed. And so I guess like how my relationship with God has grown through Known MPLS. I think literally just having like 2 hours every week where I know like, okay, like I can just let go of everything that's happening in my life. Like, I can just like put it all down and just like be in a space where we can like pray together and just like worship together. And like, even thinking about it, like even when I was young, like in high school and stuff, like I didn't realize, like, you know, when I would be at home and stuff, like just worshiping by myself, like I didn't realize that was like the building blocks of like getting me here into this space, right? So it's like that's super interesting, like even thinking about like when I was in high school and stuff, and how like that was kind of where my relationship with God like really formed. I would say like I would go to church when I was younger, even before high school, but I was never really connected until like I was really going through some things in high school to where like I finally like just like made that connection and stuff like that. So just looking back on it now, it's like hindsight 2020. It's like, yeah, like that was the building blocks for me to step into the space with Known. And and just have that opportunity to just put everything else aside that's going on in my life, and then like just to be able to just like worship and like be with God and just be with other young people. I think that's something I really want to emphasize, is like having the opportunity to be with like people my age, because, you know, especially like in this world, everybody is so, you know, there's just a lot going on and stuff like that. So I think just having that space is really dope.
Okay, thank you. I have one last question for you, and it kind of goes into what you were talking about, but we talked about the past, we talked about what this year was like, and we still have another 6 months of this year, right? But I want you to think even deeper than 6 months. I want you to think about next year, 2027. If you were talking to your 2027 self, what do you still want to remember?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. Actually, I've been thinking about this too, and I really want myself to remember it. Remember that just for me to follow my passion. Like, don't try to chase the money, because that's not gonna get me to my satisfaction or my happiness. But if I chase my passion, then like I'm gonna succeed.
The money's gonna come.
Right, the money's right. But especially like coming out of college and stuff, I've been dealing with the sense of like depression a little bit, actually, because you know, even though, you know, obviously like, everybody's like, oh my god, you graduated, woo, up to bam, it's amazing, but it's like, okay, what's next? You know what I'm saying? And I've just been thinking more about, you know, like what my next step is, like after that, or how do I get to like where I want to go. And you know, sometimes like they always say, like comparison is the thief of all, you know, thief of joy. And you know, especially like, you know, you can be on LinkedIn, you can be on Instagram, you can be on all these different platforms, right? And you can start to see like your peers like really doing big things, to start to feel like, oh, like I'm not in the space that I want to be at. And so looking into 2027, it's like, okay, like I want to be in a space where I'm just following my dreams. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if that's like stepping into grad school, if that's like just having a regular job or something like that, like just making sure that I'm following my heart and doing what I love, because I think that's what's going to like propel me.
It is, most definitely. And also, I feel like a lot of people can relate to you, because a lot of people are not only stepping outside of college, but a lot of people in this space are just graduating high school. Right. So they're not only going to have to feel that once, they're gonna have to feel that twice, like after college, you know? And I think it's very important to remember in our walk that every single one of us in our walks looks completely and utterly different. Right. Because he created us wonderfully made, right? Yes, it says that in the Bible, but nobody's walk is gonna look the same as another person. So that comparison thing is so real, because comparing ourselves to somebody else's story, we won't have the same outcome, because we're not the same person. We won't react the same way, we won't do the same things. Right, exactly. So that's a very, very important lesson to have. So thank you so much for being a part of this, and thank you for watching and tuning in every week. This was Dallas. My name is Elsie, and we'll see y'all next week.